But as we get more information, we'll continue to you. In the meantime, you're looking at live pictures of this scene where the crash took place. You can see several boats there in your picture. Some of them obviously rescue boats, others that are too small that I can't really tell what they are, but a big police presence both on the ground, in the water, and also we can tell you that there is an NYPD helicopter up above as well.
And this is, everybody at home, very preliminary in this investigation. This just came down. We are piecing this together, as is the NYPD, as are you guys. As we're getting information, we're telling you as soon as we get it. As we just said, we can confirm this is now a fatal helicopter crash there in the Hudson. And it looks like we might have some new video here just into the newsroom. We're taking a look at what we believe, as we've circled it there, is the helicopter there in the Hudson. And all the videos we had earlier, we couldn't see anything in the water, which led us to believe that maybe that chopper was submerged there in the Hudson, invisible to at least our tower cam. I'm sure they're down in the water. You probably can see better. But if you see here right on your screen, we're circling what we now believe is the helicopter there in the Hudson. NYPD just confirming at least one person is dead in this crash. And this is, of course, a video taken long before anybody else rushed to that area to attempt any form of rescue.
Okay, we're also hearing, in addition, that two other people were pulled actually out of the river. We do not know their conditions, however. So we know that one person confirmed dead, two others were pulled out. Their conditions are not known. But I want to reference the video that we were showing just minutes ago that Alan was talking about. And Robert, if you're still on the phone with us and have been listening, you know, the first thing that I noticed when we see the video of the helicopter is how much of it was already submerged in the water. I've covered, these stories before of helicopters going down in the Hudson, also the Hudson, excuse me. And usually there are like floating devices at the bottom of the helicopter in the landing gear. Can you talk about that at all? And does it strike you that the helicopter is submerged in that fashion, so deep into the river so quickly? All right, it looks like we do not have Robert Sumwalt, but...
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, okay, now we can hear you. Were you able to hear my question?
Yes, I did. I could hear it just fine. And hopefully you can hear me okay. Sometimes for whatever reasons, the floats are not activated. You'll remember the case of the Fly Nyan crash that happened back around 2018. And there was a case where the floats one of them did not inflate properly. So the helicopter rolled over on its back. And so it just depends if the helicopter even had the floats, and if they had them, did they activate as they should have? So without the floats, obviously the helicopter will sink.
Is it required, though, those floats, are they required to be on a helicopter for this very reason?
I really don't know the answer to that.
Okay, it's all right. Thanks for being honest.
Yeah, no
That's why we ask these questions.
Absolutely. And Robert, you referenced that Fly Nyan crash back in 2018. I understand that there was a component of that crash that may or may not have had to do with the safety harnesses that people on board were wearing. They're meant to keep you safe, of course, while you're in the air, but they can be a problem if you take on water and have a water landing or crash in this instance. Talk to us about that component. I understand that it's always required that pilots in these companies, and we do not know what company this helicopter was with, of course, what organization, they're required to show you how to unbuckle yourself and get out of that harness in the event of a crash in water like this.
Well, that's right. An ordinary seatbelt, may not be ordinary to a passenger because they're not like the seatbelts in your car. It's a 4 or 5 point shoulder harness where the shoulder harnesses come over your shoulders. Then you have the lap belt, and then sometimes one coming up between your legs, and you have to rotate a buckle to get those off. And if you've not really practiced that, it can be, you're going to maybe panic when you can't figure out how to get out. I just got off of an airliner about an hour ago, and I always pick up the emergency briefing card and read it and commit it to memory, even though I fly about 4 or 5 times a week. So know how to get out of something if you need to. Don't wait until you are in that situation to try and figure it out.
Phenomenal advice there, Robert. Thank you. And we'll be right back with you. Please stay around with us here. We want to go live now out to our Allie Bauman, who's live at Pier 26. She is one of the first reporters here that we've been able to show you a live ground image. Allie, what do you see out there?
Yeah, Alan, we just got to the scene, 30 seconds ago and fired up the camera as soon as possible. We're at Pier 26 right now, right on the Hudson River. And I want to have my photographer, Christy, here pan off to show you the scene that, as you can see, is closer to the Jersey side. As we've been reporting, this helicopter went down closer to the Jersey side of the Hudson River. Now, over there, you can see those flashing lights. There is a very heavy NYPD presence over where we are on the ground here at Pier 26, as well as the FDNY Harbor Unit, NYPD in the air. FDNY tells me they have divers, they have rescue crews, they have all their resources being sent over here to respond to the scene as quickly as possible. Now, right now, the NYPD is telling us that at least one person is confirmed dead. I was told that at least 2 people have been pulled out of the Hudson River at this hour. Unclear the condition of that second person, whether they've been pulled out alive or dead at this point. Now, sources are also telling us that the NYPD believes there could be a child on board. It's not clear how many passengers in total. Now, it does appear that this was a recreational helicopter, a touring helicopter that we often see, flying around the Manhattan skyline, flying over the Hudson River, a daily occurrence here. And this happened just, about an hour or so ago. We have a large NYPD, FDNY rescue crew presence, both in the water, on the ground here, and trying to get a better picture of exactly what's happening. Now, I can tell you just from being on the pier here, there's a playground, there's fields here. It does seem to be in some ways business as usual with some of the families and children and adults that are here on the ground at the pier. So it wasn't a huge disturbance to the everyday life here on the ground at this point. We have been seeing reports of some people from their apartments seeing the helicopter go down. We're trying to make contact with those people to get firsthand accounts of exactly what they saw. But that's the latest that we have right here from the scene. Alan and Christine.
Allie, I just want to make sure and reiterate so that we can make sure that we have all of our facts correct. Your sources were telling you that this was a recreational helicopter and that a child may have been on board?
That's what we're hearing, the initial reports, that there may have been a child on board. Unclear the total number of passengers or crew that was in that helicopter, but at this hour we know at least one person has died. At least 2 people have been pulled out. Unclear the condition of the second person.
And were your sources able to tell you where this helicopter took off from?
No, I don't know that at this hour. I'm going to try to get that information, Christine.
Okay, Allie, I know you just got to the scene. Great work gathering what you have been able to so far. We'll let you get back to work. Thank you, Allie. All right, back here live at the scene, the rescue scene that is still very active. You can see the NYPD and FDNY boats that are there surrounding the crash site. The site this afternoon, sadly, of another helicopter crash in the Hudson River. CBS News New York can confirm 1 person has died. 2 others were pulled out of the water, their conditions not yet known. Here we can see some still pictures of the submerged helicopter. It looks like it's actually upside down.
Yeah, and that might be the flotation devices you were referencing earlier. And, sometimes they get capsized. You're looking at the bottom, that's the landing gear of this helicopter as it sits, like you said, possibly upside down there in the Hudson. I want to also, we just heard Allie say one of these people on board might have been a child there, as we take a look at look at this massive FDNY and NYPD response there right around.
This is Pier 40.
Pier 40, yes, Pier 40 there on the West Side Highway. So it looks like we have at least 1 person dead, 2 pulled from the water, 1 of which out of those 3 could have possibly been a child, as we continue to build and get more information and a better look at exactly what's going on there down in a lower Manhattan. Another look now with these new pictures just into the newsroom of the helicopter. These are our first images that we've gotten of the physical helicopter. Before this point, we were unable to see anything above the water.
Absolutely. And I'm just thinking of the people that are involved in this here today as the story continues to unfold, and the human factor of what we're learning as these details are confirmed by our news crews and our crews here back in the newsroom. But it sounds as though at this point, according to sources, this was supposed to be an afternoon of family fun. A family, it appears, hired a helicopter to take them on a tour of the city, and somehow something went terribly wrong, and that helicopter crashed in the Hudson River. It never, ever, it always hits me when we cover these types of stories that there are real people involved in these. And as we continue to learn more about their injuries and also about this one death, obviously we're thinking of their families at this time, but we will continue obviously to learn more about what is going on here, and then ultimately how this happened to further prevent another situation like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody on board that helicopter, they did not wake up this morning anticipating this. This was probably an exciting moment for whoever was on board. The New York City skyline from above is tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And we just got some new information as I was speaking there. 2 adults and a child, I believe.
Three
Is that
children.
correct? Three children. Two adults and three children on board. 2 adults and 3 children were on board this helicopter, as we now know. So you talk about a time of family fun on a Thursday afternoon. This was probably an incredible ride there, alongside 2 adults, 3 children on board that helicopter that then turned into this tragedy here. I've been on one of these tour helicopters before, overlooking Manhattan. It's phenomenal. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like being able to see New York City from the air. And even when you buckle up and you trust the company and you know what's going to happen and you trust in that flight, you can never be 100% sure.
Absolutely not. And we cannot tell you whether or not if one of those adults was the pilot. So we're still looking to confirm if in fact there could have been 6 people on that helicopter.
Okay. So at least 5.
At least 5 right now. We, again, do not know if one of those adults that was on that flight was the actual pilot. So it's very well possible there could have been 3 adults. But right now we do know 2 adults and 3 children.
And we don't know which of those are the deceased that we've been notified of. If you're just now joining us, CBS News New York is monitoring a situation unfolding right now live on the Hudson River down in Lower Manhattan on the West Side Highway right around Spring Street. We have confirmed that a helicopter has gone down there in the Hudson River, and our sources and reports are telling us this was a tour helicopter that was likely out sightseeing the New York City skyline and surrounding areas. It went down there right around, Pier 26 there on the West Side Highway. At least 5 people were on board. We've been told at least 2 adults, 3 children were on board, confirmed to be on board that helicopter when it went down. 2 people have been pulled out of the Hudson so far. 1 person has been confirmed dead. That all coming from the NYPD. This is a live image now from our tower cam, taking a look at it. And I do believe as we continue to learn information, we're sending our reporters out all over the scene to bring you guys more information. Alicia Reed right now is live at the scene. We're going to go to her.
She's in Jersey City. Alicia, what have you been able
That's right, Devlin.
learn?
We just arrived, Christine, we just arrived on scene here. Lots of onlookers trying to figure out exactly what happened. We did speak to one witness who said he was in his apartment at the time that this crash happened. He heard the loud bang, looked out his window, and saw 2 choppers going down into the water. If you look right behind me, you can see that yellow chopper right in front of one of the boats there. He says that's a part of one of the helicopters that went down. And right across from that, where you see other boats, you see the one that's blue and red or black and red, and a few others in the water. He said the other chopper went down a little further away. Another lady that we spoke to said she saw the tail of one of the choppers spinning before it went down. So a lot of different accounts here. We did see while we were on our way here, an ambulance being escorted by a police car. We have witnesses here that say they saw 3 bodies being pulled out of the water. None of that is confirmed by NYPD or New Jersey as of yet, but we did see at least one ambulance being escorted by a police car, and of course still a very, very active scene out here this evening as people are trying to figure out exactly what happened. But we did speak to one man that said he was all the way in Hamilton Park, heard the sound, and came all the way over here to find out what happened, because clearly there's something happening here. It's just still too soon to know exactly what is going on, but for now, we know there's at least one chopper in the water. We can see a part of it right there sticking out. We're waiting to hear more detailed information from authorities, but for now, that is the latest information that we have. As soon as we get any more, we'll bring it right back to you.
Okay, Alicia, thank you. We want to go now to Jennifer Bisram. She is at Pier 40, where we saw that massive police and fire presence on the pier. Jennifer, what can you tell us?
Hi, Christine. Yeah, as you mentioned, we're here at Pier 40, and basically all you see here are emergency crews. If you look closely on the Hudson, on the New Jersey side, you can see also emergency crews there as well. This has been like an ongoing situation here within the last maybe half hour. Emergency crews have been all down the West Side Highway, and we talked with police just a short time ago. They confirmed to us one person did die from that helicopter crash. Inside that helicopter, we're told there were at least 2 adults and 3 kids. Right now on the New Jersey side, there is a search and rescue effort taking place right now, that coming from the FDNY. And if we can have Sean show you again, look closely here on the Hudson. You can see lots of NYPD officers, search and rescue crews. You can also see this area here blocked off. Again, you can see more EMS, first responders, FDNY, as well as reporters. We've been talking with people here as well. None of them that we talked with actually saw what happened, but as you can imagine, they are just in shock. And of course, as we get more information, we'll certainly bring it to you. But again, we're being told that that helicopter crash went down in the Hudson around 3:15 this afternoon. One person presumed dead at this point. At least 3 children, we're told, were on that helicopter as well. Of course, as we get more information, Christine, we are going to bring that to you. But again, you can hear the choppers from up above right now. You can see the crews there on the ground, and this is an all-out search right now to find out, to rescue those people who were on the helicopter and essentially figure out what exactly went wrong here.
All right, Jennifer Bisram reporting live for us on the latest from Pier 40 as we continue our live coverage of a helicopter crash in the Hudson River on this Thursday afternoon. Let's go back to former NTSB Robert Sumwalt. Robert, we're hearing now that there were 2 adults, 3 children on this helicopter. One of our reporters said that a witness told her that they heard a noise, a boom, something to that effect. What are your just initial thoughts on that? Would that sort of noise happen on impact to the water when the helicopter hits the water?
Well, what we do know is that witness reports can be awfully helpful, but we always want to correlate that with other information. So the NTSB will take all of that together, witness reports, the physical data, the evidence that they can get extracted from the data chips on the aircraft, and put all that together. So I'm not saying the witness was wrong, but I'm saying that sometimes that information is not 100% accurate.
Absolutely. And our reporters are out there continuously talking to people, as are we. And like you just said, a lot of the times people might think they saw something that doesn't necessarily line up with exactly what happened. But we're bringing the most accurate information to our viewers as possible here. A question for you, Robert. In the moments before this helicopter crashes into the Hudson, I'm sure there had to be panic, unfortunately, of course, but some efforts by the pilot, whoever was in control of the helicopter, to revert, to fix this collision course. As someone who has the experience that you do, what is standard protocol once you realize something is wrong and you're heading for a water landing as this helicopter has here?
Well, that's a really good question. The first rule is fly the aircraft. Do whatever you can to keep the aircraft flying. Sometimes accidents happen because somebody gets distracted. They're dealing with an emergency and they're not actually monitoring what the helicopter or the airplane is doing. So that's the first rule. They say aviate, navigate, and communicate. So if there was no distress call, for example, that would be because communicating to ATC is the last of those priorities. So, again, this is going to be a jigsaw puzzle. The NTSB is going to take it all. They're going to take all the evidence. They're going to lay it all out. Maybe not physically lay it out, but they're going to sort it all out. And their most important goal is to find out what happened so they can keep these things from happening in the future.
And I want to make sure here, Robert, you have been looking at our CBS News New York live images here as we look at more new live images. New cameras continue to come in as our teams get in place and get a look. When we saw the helicopter that seemed to be surrounded by those yellow buoys or flotation devices, we're not sure, the tarps maybe. Can you confirm it looks like this thing is upside down? Correct? It landed maybe right side up and then flipped upside down because of buoyancy. What goes through your head? Here's our image right here if you're seeing it. When you see this picture, what's going through your head?
Yeah, and being in Houston, I now don't have the current WCBS feed any longer, unfortunately. But that was something that I saw on X, is that it actually did look like the helicopter had submarined to where it had just flipped. That the body of the fuselage was underwater and the floats, the skids with the flotation devices were floating on the water. So it was completely upside down. There's a number of reasons for that. And as we saw in the Fly Nyan situation, one of the floats did not activate. In this particular case, if what we're seeing is what we think we're seeing, it does appear that both the floats did inflate. But that's all going to have to be determined. If it had floats, why did it flip over? So a lot of unanswered questions right now. But the unfortunate news we heard from your broadcast was that apparently there have been fatalities, and certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to those who've been affected by this tragedy.
Absolutely. There's always the human factor to these stories, and it's something that is first and foremost on our mind as we cover this accident, Robert. I am curious, given your expertise and the time that you spent investigating crashes, the idea, I would assume, for these floating devices is to keep the helicopter afloat in water landings and to keep it right side up. In your experience, or even perhaps in other cases that you have read and studied, has there ever been a time where these floating devices proved to be counterproductive?
Great question. I cannot think of a case where they were counterproductive. But that's a good question. I don't have the answer right off the top of my head.
Okay. Robert Sumwalt, we really do appreciate what you've been able to share with us. We know that you're in Houston and you're watching the pictures just as we are as we broadcast them as they happen. These are live pictures of the helicopter that is now submerged, currently upside down in the Hudson. I know it's challenging for you, Robert, to give your perspective when you're speaking to us in another state, but we do appreciate your patience and your time. Let's go back to Jennifer Bisram now, continuing our team coverage. Once again, she is at Pier 40, where there is a very heavy presence for rescue personnel on the Hudson side of the river. Jennifer, have you been able to learn anything more about what took place here this afternoon?
You know, I just got off the phone with FDNY, Christine, and they say things are still fluid. They're trying to get the numbers right now. Their search and rescue teams are out there just trying to rescue anyone who may have been on that helicopter. The NYPD confirming, though, at this moment, at least 5 people were on that helicopter. They're saying at least 2 adults and 3 children. And again, sadly, 1 person we learned is presumed dead at this hour. But again, Christine, those numbers could change at any point as information is coming in at this hour. As mentioned to you before earlier in this broadcast, there are lots of emergency vehicles. You could probably even hear right now the sirens from the ambulance, EMS crews, FDNY, NYPD, all here at this hour, just sitting here trying to figure out exactly what happened. If you look here on the Hudson, you can see lots of emergency crews there as well. Also, off of the water, there are lots of search and rescue teams here as well. We've seen a lot of EMS workers with bringing stretchers closer to the water. This area is blocked off to us right now. But again, I'm not sure if Sean can show you there. There are dozens of FDNY and EMS crews there. And like I mentioned, they have been bringing stretchers to this area right now. But again, it's still most of the efforts that are taking place right now, from what we understand, is on the New Jersey side. But again, they are here and ready. I did ask police if there is going to be a press conference here soon, and they tell us one will take place, but it will take place, of course, as they get more information. But again, sad day here on the Hudson. A helicopter crashed into the Hudson here around 3:15 this afternoon. At least 5 people on board and at least 1 person presumed dead. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Jennifer, thank you. Yeah, 5 people on board, at least 1 confirmed dead, like you said, at least 2 adults, 3 children, 2 people pulled from the water, but we're working on learning their condition. Jennifer, we'll check back in with you here in a short little bit. We do have another reporter out right now, Alicia Reed, who we just heard from a little while ago. She spoke to, I wouldn't say witnesses, but people who undoubtedly heard a loud bang when this helicopter might have gone down. Walk us through what you're seeing now and if you have any new information.
Yeah, that's right, Devlin. Right now, I just checked the temperatures out here. The real feel is right above freezing. So it is extremely, extremely cold out here. We just finished talking to one woman who was running at the time, preparing for a half marathon that's happening this weekend. And she said she saw the chopper, just the tail spinning out before it fell into the water. She wasn't sure at the time what was happening, if it was some sort of attack or what was happening. She got scared, called her husband. He told her to go home, but she's still here, clearly still trying to figure out, as a lot of people are out here, what happened. Right now, we can see in the water, there's still a portion of a chopper just like barely sticking out of the water. Lots of emergency services here, a lot of choppers circling the area, investigating. We did see on our way here 1 police car escorting an ambulance out of here. We're not sure what was happening, who was in there, and what the story is behind that. But what we do know right now is that there is a chopper still sitting in the water. There are parts floating around. People in the neighborhood are explaining to us that they did at least hear and see 1 chopper spinning out before it fell into the water. And that man we spoke to a little earlier when we first got on scene said he actually saw from his apartment window 2 helicopters colliding. Again, we're still trying to figure everything out as we're standing here on scene. The rain is starting to come down. Not sure how difficult it will make it for the recovery teams or the people on scene efforting this investigation, how difficult the cold temperatures and the elements will make it for them. But and visibility is really poor here as well. The skies are quite ominous. But we are standing around waiting to find out from authorities exactly what is happening. And of course, as soon as we get any additional information, we will bring it right to you.
Okay, Alicia Reed reporting for us from Jersey City, the Hudson, or the New Jersey side of the Hudson there, with the latest on the situation from her point of view. Jennifer Bisram, let's go to her. She is at Pier 40. She has some new information for us. Jen, what have you been able to learn?
Hi, Christine. Yes, as Alicia mentioned, the rain is starting to come down here right now. And, again, we confirmed that there are at least 5 people who were on that helicopter, at least 3 children, and at least 1 person presumed dead at this hour. Again, take a look at the scene here. You can see all the way down on the Hudson here, closer to the New Jersey side, lots of EMS and rescue crews, search and rescue crews here at this hour, and off the water as well. You can see they have roped off this area. NYPD has blocked off this area. And if you look further down, you can see past the reporters that are all there, there are lots of FDNY and EMS crews. We've been watching FDNY workers bring in stretchers, and the stretchers have been coming through and going closer to the water there. But at this hour, we have not seen anyone specifically taken out and rescued from the water. Again, we talked with the NYPD a short time ago, and they tell us there will be a press conference to let us know exactly what is happening. But they too say that this is a fluid situation. They are still trying to understand exactly what happened, exactly how many people were on that helicopter, and how many they were able to rescue from out of the water. The FDNY, we talked with them a short time ago as well. They say they too are still trying to get all the numbers together. There will be a press conference here at some point, but at this point, it's still unclear when. Again, as soon as we get more information on this, we will certainly bring it back to you. But we're told again that this helicopter crash went down here in the Hudson around 3:15 this afternoon. At least 5 people on board, 3 of them children, 1 person at this hour presumed dead. Guys.
Jennifer, thank you for that update. For our viewers that may just be joining us as we approach almost 4:30 in the afternoon on this Thursday, we would like to update you on the latest of what we know so far. A helicopter crashed into the Hudson River. The remnants of that helicopter are now upside down on the Jersey side of the Hudson near Hoboken. Massive police and fire presence on both sides of the Hudson. You can see here from Pier 40, the emergency response there. It is exactly the same situation on the New Jersey side. We can tell you, we have confirmed there were 2 adults and 3 children on the helicopter. We do know right now that 1 person, unfortunately, has died. 2 others were pulled from the helicopter. We are still waiting to confirm their conditions. So there are still 2 people. Okay, now, excuse me, I'm just hearing from our newsroom that there were actually 6 people on that helicopter. So we originally learned that there were 5. Now we are learning that there was 1 more person. So a total of 6 people and at least 3 children. So it appears as though that there were 3 adults and 3 children, which is what we suspected earlier in our coverage. Please bear with us because this information is coming in every second as this story unfolds. But here is video that you're looking at right now. And in that circle is the wreckage of that helicopter. It is now submerged underneath the water. The flotation devices appeared to have
malfunctioned.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Yeah, true.
But we did see them on the skids that Pat Sumwalt did reference as well. But those flotation devices are meant to be there for situations just as this, for emergency water landings. Now, obviously, we cannot speculate what happened, but we can tell you now that this helicopter is submerged in the water and it is upside down. Now, one worry that we have that has developed since the time that we have gone on the air is the weather. We are expecting rain here this evening. Obviously, that is going to hinder the rescue operation. And also, we're working up against the time of sunset. So we are hoping to hear from FDNY and NYPD, also the emergency crews over on the New Jersey side, to hopefully get an update that everyone has been recovered, at least from the wreckage.
And it looks like we've got a dive team here, a scuba dive team here, who is probably preparing to go in that water. Maybe they just got out. We're going to wait and see exactly what they plan on doing there. You were referencing the weather. I think Alicia also brought it up as well. It is cold outside to be submerged in water. You're talking about a sudden immersion in near freezing temperatures. If we're going to get the exact temperature, 46 degrees out there, you immediately go into shock. Your body goes into shock. Your heart rate rises very quickly. Your breathing shortens. And that is while you are dealing with being likely strapped into a helicopter, as we heard Robert Sumwalt talking about today, because that is not an easy buckle to unbuckle with that submersion effort. Like you said, Christine, 6 people, at least 3 children. We're assuming, we're believing 3 adults, the pilot, as we've been confirmed. And we're also now aware that New York City Mayor Eric Adams is there on scene along with his team. He is there at the pier waiting right now with the rest of his team, the rest of FDNY and NYPD Pier 40, that is, here in Manhattan, as everyone waits, watches to figure out exactly what comes next with a recovery effort, a rescue effort. And of course, right now we're looking live. This is a live image, correct? This is a live image right now of this dive team preparing to go into the water here right next to this upside down helicopter, as we now know. And I guess all the questions remain. What caused right into the water?
Go into the water.
Right into the water.
You know, if we're going to look at something that's positive out of this situation here this afternoon, is every day I come into work, I drive down the West Side Highway, and I always look over to my right as I'm heading south to look at the water. And if I'm going to give it a rating of how choppy things look, it actually looks pretty good today. I'm just thinking of the other day when we had that really windy Tuesday, and it was very, very choppy there in the river. I mean, it's always choppy, but I think in terms of what it could be, I think it could obviously be a lot worse. But you can see the diver, the rescue diver there right next to the wreckage. You can see his head bobbing up. He has his oxygen mask on, and it looks as though that he is going to go down to go into the cabin of that helicopter. We can tell you that we now have confirmed a total of 6 people were on board. 3 adults, 3 children, from what we believe. So there have been 1 body pulled, confirmed dead, 2 others that were pulled. We do not know their conditions, so that leaves 3 more recovery, rescues that need to take place.
And some new information we just got into the newsroom here as our teams continue to piece this one together as we give it to you live on air. The mayor's office is speaking on where this helicopter took off from. It appears as though it took off from Lower Manhattan, and we're not sure how far along its route it was before it ended up here in the Hudson. But these are new details that are coming in. I believe we've also got a statement from the FAA in response to this crash, and they're saying, and I quote, "A Bell 206 helicopter crashed and is submerged in the Hudson River in New York City. The number of people on board is unknown at this time." That's coming from the FAA. CBS News New York is slowly piecing it together. How many people we believe may have been on board? At least 6, as we know, 3 adults, 3 children with this helicopter. They went on to say, the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board will investigate. The NTSB will lead the investigation and provide any updates as we get them. So that is where we are piecing this together right now. A Bell 206 helicopter is a very familiar helicopter to many of you. If you've looked up in the air, you've seen them. They frequent the Manhattan skyline. It's a 2-blade, single and twin engine helicopter. It can be one of either. We know this was a tourist helicopter, a sightseeing helicopter. So that is where we're getting the information about. This could have been a family. This could have been a sightseeing tour. People looking to see more about New York City, looking to see it from the air. And now we're stuck with this tragic image of this helicopter upside down in the Hudson. We can see the head of the diver that went into the water there. He's been submerged for a couple of minutes now. He looks like he's coming back up. CBS News New York is still trying to work to get information on the exact number and condition of those on board this helicopter.
Right now, we want to get to CBS meteorologist Nikki Nolan. She lives on the Jersey side of the Hudson, Jersey City to be exact. Nikki, thanks for joining us as we continue our coverage here. I understand that you can actually see the wreckage from your apartment.
Hi, yes, I can. It looks like a bunch of emergency crews, both on land and on the water, that are overseeing the wreckage of the helicopter crash. It looks like there are some ambulances and, of course, local media that are all along. Basically, these piers and this big barrier that where the crash site is actually the start of the Holland Tunnel that connects all the way over onto the other side of the Hudson to get to the other side of New York. So it looks like the crash was right at the base of that. And then just on the other side of my apartment complex, there is a helicopter pad that they could have been commuting either from or trying to get to, which puts them in these lower altitudes.
So, Nikki, I'm just curious, did you actually see anything take place?
Looking for that
I did not, unfortunately. I was coming home from CBS, so
I just found
it was after the fact that I'm seeing all of the crews coming over at the time and gathering all of their information and trying to do the rescues.
All right, so since you're a meteorologist, can you give us any insight into the water temperature in the Hudson right now?
Yeah, so it's actually really cold. It looks like in the 50s and 40s for the actual Hudson. And then we actually have some rain that is coming in. So that's going to interfere with anyone who is doing any ongoing rescues. And of course, the crews that are in the water itself, 50s and 40s are nothing to see that. So it's definitely colder for anyone that's involved out there.
Cleaning.
And we're looking live right now, Nikki, at some of the pictures that you took from your apartment here, showing the moments immediately after the helicopter went down, before law enforcement, NYPD, FDNY even got to the scene there. I know you just walked us through a little bit of the weather and the water temperatures. Can you talk to us about...
Did you say you can't hear me? Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Yo. I said I was cleaning just now, and my hands got soapy and one of my rings fell off. I found that one. But about a week ago, I took off my black ring and I put it somewhere, and I can't remember where I put it.
On a large scale, the winds, the rain, the cloudiness, anything to do with the weather that could impact aviation in the area here today?
Absolutely. So it looks like I said, the rain is coming in. So it's just...
No, forgive me for looking like a hot mess. As you women say, I'm doing some chores.
Moving into the area, we have some sprinkles that are coming in already. Winds are pretty light, so they're gusting upwards of 18 miles per hour, so they are picking up on that end. And then for visibility, it's still pretty good.